Hey guys, it's 5:45 in the morning and we're gonna go pick up ourselves an airplane.
Good morning, guys. Now that I'm sufficiently caffeinated, let me tell you about what we're going to do today. My buddy called me last night and told me that he had a Gloster Meteor that he no longer wanted to work on because he had to do a whole bunch of upgrades to it. He bought a plug-and-play plane that was a 4S and the electronics, not so great. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go pick it up today, and then we're going to bring it back to the studio, and we're going to convert it to 6S, change out some servos, and we'll have it flying by hopefully this weekend. Now that the electrical upgrades are complete and we have balanced the aircraft, we just have to wait for the glue to dry and then we'll be ready for engine run-ups.
This is our tester. The battery's a little hot. .74.
And it looks like it's ready to fly.
So this plane flew before you got to fly it.
Yes, it sure did. I actually went and flew, go pick it up and shoved it in the nose of the airplane and brought it home. So yeah, unfortunately her first flight wasn't on her own wings.
Gosh, she looks pretty rough though. I mean, is this foam from that insulation foam from Lowe's?
No, that's actually Gorilla Glue. This airplane was a complete mess whenever we got it in. In fact, because it was such a mess, we put the nose art here, Busted Betty, because, I mean, everybody knows at the airfield that I like to fly really nice airplanes, and well, you know, I had to save myself with the name there. It is definitely a work in progress for sure. Some things to note: the horizontal stab was bent. You got this chafing right here from where there was packing tape on the foam, so it ripped the paint off. Dings, scratches, stress marks. Yeah, the packaging was definitely something to be desired.
Goodness, and that, you know, that's just out of the box.
Yes.
What about? I know you actually texted me and you were having some issues. We can read about the specs online, but what did you do to it to make it right?
So as I mentioned in the video, we were going to be upgrading the electronics and everything. So that's where we started. This airplane was originally extremely underpowered, and it from what I've heard, it just chewed through batteries, puffed batteries, because a 4S system is not going to cut it. So what I went ahead and did, was upgraded it. I put new fans in there. Luckily, the EDFs or the ESCs were able to be sufficient for the fans that I put in. So I put in their 70 millimeter 6S 2300 kV motors. We already had the Skylord 80 amp ESCs, which was plenty to cover the airplane. I like to run all my airplanes off of a receiver battery, directly plugged into the receiver. Well, that was the electrical issues I was having, is when I plugged it in, it got really hot underneath the hood there. The servos got really hot and they started to chatter, so I immediately unplugged it. So, oh, that was another thing. Speaking of servos, I replaced the servos with Metal Gear servos because the ones that came with the model were just garbage.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they were not very good servos. So let's open up and I'll show you all exactly what I did here, because I thought about for a little while running it off the ESCs, but like I said, I really don't like doing that because if you drop an ESC or drop a motor, you're done. The airplane's a glider at that point. So here's what I did was I got a 2S LiPo right here, if I can get it out, right here, and I plugged it into a little 10 amp ESC that I had just sitting around from an old airplane. So we're going to go ahead, turn on the radio, and then we're going to go ahead and once there it goes, we're going to go ahead and plug this in. There it goes. And now we're going to show you some cool features on the airplane. So we're being powered off this little 10 amp ESC that's obviously not plugged into a little small motor in front. I mean, I don't want to keep the pilot cool. He's not even in the cockpit. So yeah, here's a really cool scale detail in this airplane are the split flaps down here. I really like what I did. I have them on a 6-second delay. As you can see, they're very slow to deploy, so that makes the transition easy for me, and it gives it more of a scale appearance.
Yeah.
I don't like fast flaps. I mean, that just looks ridiculous.
Yeah, just uncontrolled flight there.
Another weak point on the airplane is the landing gear. You'll see the nose gear doesn't retract all the way. And also with this airplane's landing gear, they're notorious for not retracting in the winter. So here's a retract.
Oh, my hand. Oh.
Well, you got to watch that.
Okay.
It missed. It's pretty stubby. All right. So there's the retracts on the landing gear. When I did my initial test on it, it ran fine being powered off the ESCs, but like I said, I like that redundancy. If I drop a ESC, I can, get it home safely.
So what do you think? Does it get the mashed up seal of approval?
Well, I have to break that down into several categories here.
Okay.
Overall appearance and how it came, that's a big fat no. It required a lot of work, and we're going to still have a lot of work to go on this model, and we're going to have extensive episodes about different things I'm going to do to it. We're going to do a little 3D printing on some parts to make them a little bit better. As you can see, there's a lot of chatter there. This is split, that's bashed in, so you're going to get 3D printed caps on both sides over here. I'm also going to give it a nice smooth finish. It's going to almost look like a balsa airplane when I'm done with it.
And that's what we're about, guys. Making it better, because it's just, the foamies, the balsa, that's not your personality. I mean,
yeah.
That's what making it all about.
Well, that's what makes it a hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, not just buying something, but buying it, taking it home, making it your own, for sure. Yeah, so, a couple other things to note wise. So now that we covered, just getting it out of the package, assembly.
Oh.
This airplane was also a big no. It had little bitty wing joiners about that big in these wing tips. I mean, that's just not sufficient if you're gonna. And I mean, if you want, we could show.
It's supposed to be a fast-flying EDF.
I mean, we could show you underneath there those two. Can you point it out, Mike? Those two little screws. I mean, that's all that's supposed to hold on the wing. And I mean, those are really just small and weak. And even the bolt mounts inside the wing had a lot of play. So whenever I first set it up, I could move that wingtip around. And
So it wants to flap like a bird.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, and it would also
No.
flutter to the ground and create some foam chunks. So, we had that issue. So I went ahead and I glued the wing tubes in, and I glued the wing tips onto the wings itself.
That is pretty solid.
Yeah, I have a truck, so it's not a big deal for transport for me. But for somebody with a small car that might be interested in this kit, you might want to think about that because it's not easy to pull the main wings off. Another thing is, this was also held on by 2 screws underneath. I went ahead and just glued it together, called it a day, and that was a major improvement there as well. Another big weak point on the airplane is that your elevator is joined. You can kind of see there. Your elevator is joined by a carryover piece of stainless steel, and I'll show you here. You can actually see it. As you can see right here, one elevator comes up more than the other. Obviously, the servo side is more responsive than the other side. Now, in flight, didn't really notice too much of a roll, but little things like that bug me. So it's in the future is going to get a second servo on that.
Definitely have to be more conscious of it because on these EDFs, that roll can induce a lot of uncontrolled.
Well, especially when you look down at your timer, right?
Yeah, especially when you look down at your timer. We'll save that for a different episode.
Yeah. So, so now the positives on this model and why the heck I'm going to keep it and do all this other work into it. I'm going to give it an absolutely mashed up thumbs up for the flying characteristics of this airplane. It is, you said it's fast, it looks fast, but it's not. It's, I would say it's a medium speed EDF. It's a very heavy plane, but man, does it fly good. It's so stable, it's so solid. Landings, it has no bad tendencies, does not want to tip stall. And I mean, honestly, flaps didn't really even make that much of a difference. Your speeds can get so slow. I can pull full aft elevator on landing and full stall landings if I want. It won't drop off. As you can see in the video, it floated and I had to do a go around and then it floated again, but I was out of battery, so I had to put it down at that point. But it gets nice and slow, and I mean, I cannot say enough good things. This company did a great job on the overall aerodynamics on this airplane.
Hey guys, so if you like the content, like us, share with your friends, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
What?
I'm just listening to you.
No, I just wanted to see what you were going to do.